Good evening, Jorip Daily News audience. My name is Christian, and I'm here to bring you all the latest news of the steel industry. In the first 2 months of this year, China's stainless steel imports were around 455,000 tons, a year-on-year increase of 34.88%. Among them, the imports from Indonesia reached over 410,000 tons, soaring by 62.38% compared to the same period a year ago. On the contrary, the export reached about 675,000 tons, increasing by 9.25% year-on-year. Meanwhile, the increase in China's stainless steel imports focused on semi-finished products, while the imports of white cold rolling products remained relatively stable. Despite unchanged key interest rates, the U.S. Federal Reserve is signaling optimism for the economy and is forecasting significantly stronger growth of 2.1% for 2024, a sharp jump from previous expected of 1.4%. Growth expectations for 2025 also remain high at 2%, a sign of continued stability and prosperity. At the same time, the Fed sees a slight rise in inflation, but a robust economic situation and falling employment should offset this. The moderate interest rate cuts indicate for 2024 a strengthening optimism on the market, which is reflecting in rising share prices. Switzerland recently reduced its main interest rate by 0.25%, with Japan also ceasing its negative interest rate area. Attention turns to the US, where industry experts anticipate a rate cut in May or June. This move is poised to rejuvenate the weakened steel market, prompting increased buying activity and warehouse preparations. Prices of most base metals climbed on Thursday, lifted by enhanced risk appetite after the U.S. Central Bank indicates it will stick with its interest rate cut plan for this year. 3 months copper on the London Metal Exchange was up 1.2% to $9,031 per metric ton by 0824 GMT, while the most traded May copper contract on the Shanghai Future Exchange climbed from 0.9% to 73,240 yuan per ton. The Federal Reserve held interest rates steady on Wednesday, but still saw rates falling at least 3/4 of a percentage point later this year despite recent high inflation readings that brightened the demand outlook for industrial metals. LME 3-month nickel prices are up 6% so far this year, data to the March 19, making it the second best performing base metal during this period. This largely reflects the market view that the downside for prices was getting limited, with high-cost producers forced to cut output. Also, short sellers have started to buy back their positions. While nickel's fundamentals are still weak, the market is slowly tightening. We are currently forecasting that nickel prices move broadly sideways in the year ahead. Prices are trapped between a high-cost floor related to prices, but the upside will be capped by weak fundamentals and the likelihood of producer hedging if price rise above $20,000 per ton. European spot price for stainless cold rolled coils are increasing in transaction month on month. Italian values are lower than the rest of EU countries due to continued uncertainty in the market and low activity downstream. Sheet prices, however, are increasing month on month in all Europe and also in Italy, where stocks are said to be medium low. At present, Outokumpu and Acerinox are idling their plants due to strikes. Since fewer coils will be available on the market, mills are expected to delay orders. Longer lead times are seen supporting steelmaker price increase for May delivery. It is reported that the German government will allocate 25 million euros for decarbonization projects in the steel and cement industry in Brazil. All companies in the world can present projects until May 28. The finalists will be selected while both countries announced at the end of this year. The objective is to encourage scientific studies and development of business models with a long-term vision and innovative approaches for the production of steel and cement with low carbon emissions. The resources should also be used for development projects and financing of pilot projects in energy efficiency, substitution of fossil fuels, and disruptive technologies. The US Nucor Corporation inked a deal with Mercedes-Benz, supplying Econic Re for Mercedes-Benz models crafted at their Tuscaloosa, Alabama plant. Econic RE has been pioneering low-embodied carbon materials since 2022 and spearheading global steel industry certification. Econic RE can slash greenhouse gas emissions to less than half of traditional blast furnace-based production. The British Metals Recycling Association (BMRA) has launched a sustainability guide to help members make tangible progress towards net zero and show employees how they can help towards that goal. BMRA claims that for the first time, metals recyclers have a single place where they can measure their emissions, identify emission hotspots, learn and implement carbon reduction methods, and assess carbon offsetting. The hub is a user-friendly calculator that enables metal recyclers to measure their Scope 1 and 2 emissions. These emissions are under their direct operation control, and therefore the ones they are most likely to be able to reduce. Scrap collection volumes in Ukraine February 2024 increased by 18.7% compared to the previous month, to 140.4 thousand tons. The figure increased by 53.1% comparing to February 2023. This is according to the Ukrainian Association of Secondary Metals. The supply of raw metals to Ukrainian steel plants amount to 110.5 thousand tons for the month, which is 15.7% more than in February and 56.1% more than in February. The significant year-on-year growth is explained by the low comparison base, as in winter 2023. The domestic steel industry significantly limited production due to the shielding of critical energy infrastructure by Russian troops. Thanks for choosing Joyrip Daily News to stay informed. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.